Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger, and it is time for us to take a look at another champion build video today. And I'm going to be playing Talon in the mid lane. You can play him in top lane as well. He also is an okay jungler. I think he's pretty awesome in mid because most of the time you'll get champions you're up against that do not have a lot of armor. I do have Diana, who actually is decent at being an okay counter to this strategy that I'm trying out, based off the fact that she has a shield, and you know, that's helpful for her. She can kind of negate some of my damage that way. So unfortunately, I got hurt. If I would get somebody like Lux or Karthus or Cass or anybody like that, be able to tear through them a lot quicker. There we kind of got into a shuffle, and she is able to deal some damage while negating some. So pretty good counter choice on their part. But nonetheless, I'm going to be mid-laning him. At level 1, I usually start with a longsword and 2 pots. You can do boots and pots. You can do crystalline flasks. This is kind of a personal preference. I do a longsword because it gives me a lot of damage early on, and it helps kind of with what runes I go with, which I'll go over in a little bit. But first off, besides that, we're going to go ahead and talk about some abilities and his passive. So first, we are going to talk about his passive, which is called Mercy. Basically, Talon deals 10% additional damage on his auto attacks to any target that is slowed, stunned, immobilized, or suppressed. So it's a good way to pick up some extra damage, which luckily with your W ability, which is your Rake, which is what I take at level 1, what that does is you send out a volley of daggers, and when it hits the enemy, it will slow them. It will deal damage out and on the way back. So it does slow them for 2 seconds, so that's when you can get some of that added damage with your passive. Now here I'm having Nocturne move in. I'm going to move in too. She's going to get feared. I'm going to be able to jump to her with my E, use my Q, use my W, ignite her, and be able to pick up a kill with the ignite and with the bleed from my Q ability. Now, my Q ability, which I take at level 2, and I typically max first. Now, some people don't max this right away. Some people do max their Rake, which is not bad, but your Q will give you a little bit more damage. Your Rake will give you a lot better poke, though, so you can kind of do this based on your playstyle and what you're trying to do. But your Q ability is your Noxian Diplomacy, and that is it's your next standard attack will deal more damage, and then plus the more damage that you have based off of your attack damage, and then they will bleed for a certain amount over the next 6 seconds and will reveal their location. So this is all really good. It's good to poke them with this, especially when you jump on top of them. And the way you jump on top of them is with your E ability, which is kind of awesome, which is called your Cutthroat. You're going to instantly appear behind your target, silencing them for 1 second, and then amplifying his damage against the target by a percent for the next 3 seconds. So basically what you want to do is jump to them with your E, which will silence them, preventing them from getting away. You can use your W, which will slow them. Then you can use your Q, which will be your Diplomacy, which will bleed them and deal a lot of damage. Now here I'm going bottom lane because Diana went top, so I tried to gank the opposite lane she runs up to. Here I'm going to move in behind their team. I'm trying to make my way to Vayne, which is kind of the problem child on their team. Going to move over to her by using my E ability, jumping, use my ult, and all of that. Gonna pick up a kill on the Zillion, though. He did ignite, or did use his ult, not ignite. He ulted her, so she came back to life. I'm gonna be able to pick up the kill by igniting her, hitting her a couple times. So gonna pick up the nice double kill in the bottom lane. Very, very helpful early on in this game. So we're doing pretty good right now. We got 3 kills, no deaths, 1 assist, 52 farm. We're farming all right. So that's what's going on now. That those trips back to base, those first couple that I did take early on, I did go for my boots because of the magic resist against Diana. Not a bad thing to have against her. They did switch, though, and send Garen mid because this Garen against me now was doing good against our Garen top. So that's why they switched. But I also did pick up a Brutalizer. That's going to be one of your early items you try to get. And I did pick up that Vampiric Scepter because it's very helpful for me, just kind of staying alive in lane. Nocturne did find 2 of them. Luckily, the Rammus is a little bit behind from getting unsuccessful ganks early on. I'm going to be able to pick up a kill on him fairly quick and be able to try to chase after this Garen who is running away. Won't be able to catch up to him, though, because my jump is on cooldown, and I didn't have enough mana to use anything else. So slightly unfortunate, but that will happen to us occasionally. So we're going to go back to base, though, and continue building items as we should. I'm going to pick up a pot this time and some more health. If you can't tell, I'm taking that Brutalizer, and I'm taking that little bit of health. I'm going to be building that into a Black Cleaver, a solid standard item kind of on Talon nowadays. Pretty standard stuff. If you want to try to build this a little bit quicker than I do, never a bad idea, but I went for that Vamp Scepter fairly early in this game just to kind of be able to stay in my lane, farm, and keep my life up. Another thing I want to say about Talon, he is kind of used as the whole awesome assassinator. We're going to see this go on later in the game when I go to assassinate Vayne over and over, so just pay attention to some of that. We'll talk about it too. But don't be afraid to use your ult quite often. It's on a very short cooldown, surprisingly, so about a minute is all it takes for it to come up. So don't be afraid to use it when you get to lane. You can either force them out of lane and farm easily, or force them to lose a lot of life, and then you can jump on them not too long later and deal a lot of damage as well. So just some little things to pay attention to. When you're playing Talon. He is a very interesting champion. I know he was nerfed not too long ago, but he's still very strong. He was way too strong before his nerf, but that's one reason why I didn't make a build for him back a while ago, because I kind of felt like he was going to get nerfed. So he did, and that will happen. Now here I'm going to go die because I do kind of wait to see if I can jump to her, but unfortunately my ability misses, and that's going to happen, but don't really care. They can get one kill. It's fine. Not worried about it. So we're going to continue building. Back at base now, I'm going to pick up a BF sword. One thing I do try to do, if I'm doing fairly well, which this game I am so far, what I try to do is take that Vampiric Scepter and get a Blood Thirster quick with that BF sword. So that's what I'm trying to get for quick. I'm going to be able to kill that Garen real quick. Unfortunately, that bomb is going to kill that Ezreal. But I did pick up a kill on the Garen. Now my team is actually moving in. I need to pay attention and come up here and try to help them out a little bit. Jump in here and try to kill this Vayne, which I believe I'm going to be able to help with it, get an assist, and help with the shutdown. I'm going to try to move over here and help out, but I think Diana's just going to get murdered nice and quick. Or is she going to get away? Nope, she's going to get murdered. So we all have this happening. Like I said, though, if you want to go for your Black Cleaver a little bit faster than I am, I have it pretty much built, but the last bit of it costs quite a lot. It's over 1,000. It's like 1,100 and something. And so it's kind of pricey, so I actually try to start building towards that Bloodthirster because that's going to be a very handy item for me to have, especially since I can farm it up and get more damage based off of that. So we did just finish that off at base, and yeah, it's a good item to have. It's going to help me heal up too while I'm fighting, and be able to farm that up real quick, and we'll just keep all of that going. So as for my masteries that I usually take when I am playing Talon, I go with a kind of my 80 carry style page. Basically lots of damage in the offensive tree. Just murdered Garen there really fast, which was fun. But what I try to do is pick up a lot of damage in the offensive tree, kind of a 21-9-0 page or 22-8-0 if you're trying to pick up some extra damage against towers, just kind of depending about that. If you're looking for all of my masteries pages, you can find them though on my Facebook page. Just go to Facebook, type TheAngryHoneyBadger as one word. Don't forget to like that and look at all my pages and pay attention to updates that I do post on there. But that's going to be happening. I did just finish off that Black Cleaver that last time at base. It's going to be very helpful now to help with that armor penetration. We do build a lot of armor penetration on Talon, but since I do build a lot on him, which is a great thing to do on Talon, by the way, since I do build a lot on him with items, I don't actually do it with my runes. Some of you probably will do that. I do not. I go with some of that damage early so I can deal a lot of damage with my abilities, with my Q, with my W. So at the beginning of the game, the runes that I usually take are actually attack damage marks, armor seals, magic resist per level glyphs, and then attack damage quintessences. Now another set of quintessences I would recommend would actually be some movement speed quints. I've seen people do that on Talon, and I have done this a couple times when I took the wrong page and found out that it actually works really well. So your mobility is very helpful, especially after you do slow them and you do deal that extra damage for those few seconds. It's good to be able to stay on top of them and standard attack them, make sure you get your Q off. So something to consider, just think about that. Going to jump back over to Diana since she jumped in here. Garen's going to pick the kill up on that fairly quick. Going to slow the Vayne down. She's going to be trying to get away. She is going to she's going to have to retreat a lot, to say the least. She's going to come back, though, because the Zill ult I did just kill Rammus for a split second. Going to jump back over to her and now kill her for the double kill. Very helpful. Going to keep that going and going to keep the murdering happening. Another nice thing I will say about taking Talon mid lane is if your jungler does give you blue buff. Blue buff is awesome on him. It's basically endless poke whenever you want with your W, because it's fairly cheap ability, but nonetheless, you do feel like you want to use it a lot, and you will drain your mana doing that. And then another nice thing about blue buff is obviously the cooldown reduction that it does give you, so you're able to use all of your abilities a lot more, which make Talon the very strong champion that he is when played correctly. So we have that happening as well. Here we're going to come up behind Diana. She is alone, but luckily our Garen can tank this no problem because he is our tanky Garen. Going to jump over to her and use my ability, slow her down, use my ult, which will speed you up. Did not actually cover that. We'll go over that. And pick the kill on Diana. Now, as for my ultimate, since I did not talk about that, which I should, what your ultimate is your Shadow Assault. And what that is going to do is, basically, you send out all those rings around you with those blades. You're going to go stealth for 2.5 seconds, and you're going to gain 40% movement speed. When Talon emerges from your stealth, those blades will come back to his location, and the blades will deal damage both directions. So something to consider. So, but you know that's gonna happen. So that is what that does. It's very, very nice. Sometimes you can send it out and send it back immediately if you really want to, or by casting other abilities or however it works. But it's a good ultimate. Like I said, do not be afraid to use it over and over. It's on a fairly short cooldown. I think at level 16, when it's on full cooldown, it's at 55 seconds, so it's less than a minute. If you have any other cooldown reduction, you'll be able to use it a lot more. So here we're going to move in. Garen's going to pick up the kill on the Zillion, and that's going to be fun for us nonetheless. They were going for the Baron buff, and we noticed that Rammus had died to Baron, so we started to book it there since we didn't have a ward. Not a lot of epic warding happening in this game by either teams, I don't think. So a lot of just killing. And I'm going to pick up a couple assists, doing pretty good. I think I've still only died once. We're going to die a few times this game, but Talon's pretty sneaky, he's pretty quick, he does a lot of damage, he gets in and out real fast. We're going to go for this tower real quick while Garen does God knows what, but that's what my friends do. They go into quote-unquote man mode and murder everyone that they want to. But we're going to be trying to chase her, and but she's going to run away because it's Vayne. She can do her little tumble nonsense. Going to try to slow Garen, though, with my W best I can whenever he's trying to chase our team. I'm going to try to move back in here, though, and make my way over to the Vayne, which I will, and use my ultimate and kill her rather quick. Slow down their team, deal the damage that I can to the Rammus, who does have plenty of armor. Not a ton, but has plenty of armor. And luckily, with all this armor penetration, it's going to be a good thing against a team that's fairly tanky. They have that Garen, and Diana does get fairly tanky naturally because her stats are kind of broken if no one's noticed. And then Garen Rammus, that's pretty tanky, especially Rammus, who can build all that armor. And that's just one nice way to take care of that. We do have a lot of damage too right now, 327 attack damage going on. Pretty standard stuff. Another thing I will mention right now, because as you noticed, I did pick up a Last Whisper. Those are my 4 main items right now. At this point in the game, I'm going to start getting more resists, and I'm going to go pick up my Guardian Angel as my next item. It's going to be very helpful, just help me keeping alive in fights, and let alone I'll come back. Which, with as much damage and lifesteal that I have, it'll be a real possibility to come back from the grave and murder somebody. That's how you would typically want to try to assassinate your high priority targets with Talon. Jumped over to the Vayne, which is going to silence her, preventing her from using her ultimate and using her tumble to get away invisibly. So while you basically silence her like that, quickly use that ultimate and use that Q and standard attack her to death. Use your W if she tries to run, obviously, and slow her. Get that extra damage off with the passive. So don't forget you can use all those. Just kind of hone your skills in and get all those off in the right order. I don't always get them off in the right order, but nonetheless, I know what I'm attempting to do. Alright, so we did just pick up that Guardian Angel. Great item to have. Great thing that's going to help me out. Got 148 armor, 134 magic resist, so pretty good stuff, actually, stat-wise for a assassin. Not really building tanky, just going for the damage. There's a few things we can do with our last item to address, though, what we want to do with our build and which direction we want it to go after this point. Now, I'm going to mention about 4 different items that you can do here. All of them good, just depending on the situation that you're in, because I'd say it's very situational at this point. Now, currently this fight is not going to go well for us. Garen initiated really well on their team. They're all together. Our Garen's now just catching up. I don't want to initiate yet because Vayne's not up here. I do, though, to try to help the team out. Now Vayne's going to show up. I'm going to try to make my way to her, but with her damage and her stealth there, I'm not going to be able to do it right away. I still am going to try to back out of here real quick. If she comes to me, she does. I'm not going to be able to do enough. She still tumbles invisibly with that ult, and the footage freaks out. I do pick up the kill on her, though, but our team is going to get killed here for the most part and not be able to do much about it, unfortunately. So we weren't really grouped up. We tried to get back, but it didn't really work. That was kind of a fight we got forced into. It was good initiation by the enemy team, so you can go back and look at that closely if you want to see what happened more in depth. But that is kind of what happened, and that will happen when you're playing. Now, let's talk about these last few items you can do. Now, if you just want to sustain the damage that you're doing and just become harder to kill, the classic move is to get the Warmog's armor nowadays. It's not a bad idea to get. Another thing you can consider getting is a Frozen Mallet, which will basically help you with your standard attacks, deal that extra 10% damage with your passive. It's not a bad idea. I don't typically do it, but it is a good idea. I go for something that's like it, but something that does more damage, because some of you know that for some of my builds I either go tankier or I go with all straight out damage instead of kind of a mix. Just depends on the champion. But this is one thing that I like to do is, at this point, go for the Trinity Force. It's going to help with your Q, with the Sheen built into it to proc even more damage, which is going to just be explosive. It's going to give you a little bit of crit, which is never a bad thing, and some attack speed. That fight I kind of sacrificed myself trying to kill the Vayne, but the team cleaned up nicely. So it's going to give you that Zeal built in, though, so you get more attack speed, never a bad thing, too, and some extra movement speed. And then you're going to have that Phage built into it, which is going to give you that passive slow occasionally that will proc, and that will help out with your passive and that extra damage. So Trinity Force is actually a really good ending item, and it'll give you a little bit of more health, too. We're not super beefy by any means, but 25-ish or 23, I think we got 2,500 health. It's not a bad thing at all. For someone who has as much attack damage and damage as me and who can get into a fight. Now here's a great point where you can get in, sneak into the back of a fight as a assassin like Talon. Jump in there. I'm going to focus the Vayne when I find her. There she is. Going to use that. My ultimate. She silenced killer like that. Use everything I have. Going to help the team. Garen's in here now, who's picking up a kill on Diana. Ezreal picks up a kill. I pick up a kill on the Rammus. And we're going to chase after the Garen quickly, and our Garen is going to go drop the Sword of Death. And there's the Ace. So at this point, we do have some stuff down, and we have some minions in the base. So we're going to move this way and try to see if we can get this game closer to the end. I don't think we're going to quite get it, but we're going to get close. But, so we have all this happening. That's the item I would recommend at the end of the game, like I was saying. Trinity Force is just pretty awesome. A few things, like I said, so Atmas, or not Atmas, sorry, Warmogs, Frozen Mallet, and then the Trinity Force were the three main ones. Now, if they have a ton of magic damage or armor, you can go with something that'll help you in those ends of the spectrum, just kind of depending on how you're trying to play. If they have a ton of magic damage, or if they have tons of stuns, you go that Mercurial, which is going to be a great item and give you more damage. So that's another thing to consider. But at this point, your build is pretty set. If you really even wanted to go with another Bloodthirster, you could consider doing it. But you're pretty set. We're going to go take this Baron and try to end this game out real fast. Because it's about to that point. We got about 14 kills right now and 15 assists, only a few deaths. Talon's pretty epic like that, especially in a good game. I actually did have other footage prepared for this build, but it was when low replay was broken. There's some nice quadra kills in it with Talon, but that's okay. We'll use this game instead. It's just as worthy. Also, with this game, which is happening, we are going to be, or we, when I say we, I mean I think I'm probably going to make this into a Skype game, so look forward to that. A couple days after this build, I'll try to put that in the description if you're getting to this build after I've posted it. That should hopefully be up by now, if you're going to be seeing that. So it's pretty funny. I believe we talk like we're back in the 16th century, so should be entertaining nonetheless. And you can watch the game full on without any fast forward, and you can see how the game went, see what we were talking about, and see some of the decisions behind some of the just choices that we're making in this game. So we have all that happening. At this point, I could go back and buy that Trinity Force, but there will be no point. We're just going to end the game at this point and call her quits. Just call it good to go. But anyways, that's pretty much going to be the build video, guys. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to put those in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed to my channel. That would be awesome. There's lots of content all the time, along with helpful videos. But other than that, I think I will just see all of you in the next build video.